her in here if you'd like. Also heard we'll have to fix her noseband when I get on.
So how's everything been going in general as you're kind of circling and everything? How has everything been going? I haven't really talked to you since you guys had that thing with him being odd at the show.
Yeah. He was much better at the next one. I went back to that showground a couple of times and schooled him, and he was much more comfortable. And in the actual test, I used a lot more perfect prep to get him. It just, he just needed more prep, and I didn't do that the first time, which was kind of dumb. So that helped. And also, in the test itself, he was much more settled. Probably all of the trot work was a lot better. The canter work started out really well, and then he kind of unraveled a bit toward the end. But there's 5 flying changes in that test. That test's actually harder than the Kentucky test, I think. So it was, sort of a case of, and the thing is, I can't practice too much in the warm-up with the harder things because it just blows his mind. So obviously when I practice at home, I can do it more, but at the actual show, it's more about getting him in that headspace.
Yeah, I think it is this is a supplement. You are worried about the line change. Can you do canter walk, canter?
Right.
Stuff that make him seem overwhelmed.
Right. Yeah, and that's pretty much what I did. When I practiced it too, I would just do the whole test, but just do simple changes. So he didn't freak out as much, and that seemed to work pretty well. So
I think honestly, I feel like as I do this more and more, I think to myself that really the winner of the test is the person who is most prepared. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That you know how to ride your horse the best possible way.
Yeah.
She walks her more forward than that.
Yeah, Izzy, can you get her more forward? So she's marching along and not just ambling like a sloth.
What I would do with him here,
you don't have to put her on the bit, just make her go forward. Kick her, hard, kick her. There you go.
Now just take him and now tail to the wall leg yield. Ask more of him, yeah. And then now nose to the wall leg yield. Ask more changes because it's going to be in the test anyway. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So it should, exactly, where you don't have to be crazy doing half-pass zigzags, but start to ask of him if he can really genuinely change bends like this pretty easily.
Yeah.
So the test, why don't you just ride that as a leg yield, just leg yield from X to X,
okay.
half past the left, so to speak, and then circle right 8 meters.
Okay.
So
Oh, so is that an 8-meter circle?
yeah, so what you want to think about is that you should have a horse's length and make sure to straighten. So you should have a horse between you. If you could do me a favor, have her stand at B.
Izzy, can you stand at B?
And then just ride a leg yield.
Yeah. Into the
and then
circle.
ride a leg X, and then circle, and don't get yourself kicked. That's an aviator circle.
Okay. Yep, right there. Just make her stand right against the wall. We're using you as a prop.
The last thing she ever hears in her life. So now feel how you're to the left rein, you bend.
Yeah.
Do you see the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's pretty small. Thanks.
Yeah. Because each of these panels is 4 meters, you have to go, half of a panel's width in.
Right.
So you feel how when you straighten, and then you can do the same thing, you leg yield to X, and then you change and do your new bend.
Yep.
Really now think about how the last 3 strides, it's okay to be in a leg yield rather than a half pass.
Okay.
You're going to change the bend. So if you want to, now you can half pass or just leg yield. But think about how as you get to center line, you need to get to center line to stride early.
Yep. And then leg yield.
And on top of that, you should be leg yielding before that, right? So that this feels easier.
Okay.
And what I like here is the energy that you have in that circle is very good. You are not to slow down as you go into the circle.
Okay.
Good. And then now right leg pushes to the left rein to change the bend, right? And then more right leg through the turn establishes more bend.
Okay.
Good. And so go ahead and take a walk, please.
So the leg yield before the center line thing, do you want me to actually do that? Just like to train him.
I want you to actually do that.
Okay.
So what I mean by that is you need to think about the logistics of how you're getting from a half pass to a straight line into a new bend. And so what the best way to do is to feel as though you're riding him out of the half pass into a leg yield, because you have to have the shoulder on one side, suddenly on the other side for the circle. And
right.
so it's how to get that in the most fluid way possible,
right?
So that it doesn't look like you're all of a sudden like jostling around. And to me, it's a bigger question than getting to a place where you have the serpentine change shape for bend, right? But
yeah.
So one way that you could with him get yourself warmed up is riding anything that does that change of bend. You could do a serpentine, you could do a shallow serpentine, you could do 10-meter half circle to 10-meter half circle. Just turning down center line is a good way to do that, and then maybe leg yielding the opposite direction. Things that don't make him overwhelmed, but you know what I mean? Like finding ways to shuffle him like that.
Yeah. Also, I didn't tell you, but the other day I finally was able to do those 2 half circles in canter without
falling down.
Good. On him. I haven't gotten to that point on Bronte yet.
Yeah.
He's handier in it, but yeah. It was cool. You have to go kind of slow, to make it happen. Or I did.
Yeah. No, that's the thing with collection is people try to chase the horses through counter canter, and that's what we're going to do. Actually, I want you to pick up your canter now and warm it up for a second, and then I want to do the stretch canter.
Okay. And we can also obviously practice parts of the test on Bronte too, so we can
Yeah. Yeah, I want to do the half pass with the change the circle, so you can get kind of how it's supposed to go.
Although you should probably do the...
Sitting with him, I want to practice the ability to stretch. You're taking these 2 to Fairhill?
Yeah.
And is your goal to just make sure that you guys are sharp on cross country?
Basically, yeah. And just practice, basically, going and doing a relaxed test and a good show jumping and stuff like that. Yeah. It's not going to be insanely hard probably, which obviously is good, so we don't blow his mind on cross country, but I didn't have quite enough control, I felt like, at the last show on the cross country, so I'm going to go slower and make sure that I have more breaks. He's not running with his hair on fire.
I am not the person to talk to about that. Like, that sounds really nice. Like, I'm sure it'll work out. Okay, so what I want to do actually is what we're going to do is ride forward back in canter. So you can just keep him on the circle here.
Okay.
I'm just staying in canter, meaning forward and back. Like, then you compress him and ride him more forward. So we're going to ride him forward just like you normally would to warm up the canter. And then you're going to bring him back like you did when you did the counter canter and feel like you have that collection. And then come into 10 meters. Now hunches in. There. You're on the right more, lower in the frame. Take your right hand to your thigh. Stay coming back. Don't leave the smaller circle. Good. Now, slowly come out of the circle and keep this canter. Now, slowly let him stretch his neck down and see how you can let him stretch his head and neck lower, but don't lose this canter. Good. Give your right hand forward without losing your seat. And I mean like straight elbow, hand out like you're offering a ticket. That's fine. Let's go back to it. No. You want that left leg back to support and that you're keeping canter. So the left leg, you're kicking him, it's saying we're staying in canter. And even when the head and neck come forward, now take your right elbow and straighten it 6 straight. And push your right hand forward, but sit back on your feet. Keep your left leg back. And just there. You see how you maintain the canter from your body. There. Now try to get more forward. Push your hands together and forward and see what happens. Good.
Good boy.
And then you just take it back and ride your normal canter. And then walk. Okay.
Yeah, so you really have to lean back when you do it.
Yes. So now, keep your canter for a second. Imagine that I have grabbed your horse's tail. You're going to canter, and imagine I've grabbed your horse's tail. Look back at me. Like, imagine that I'm behind you with your horse's tail. Look back at me. Do you see how much you're staying back? Just press that for a second. Good. Do you see how he stays in more canter? Now, see if you can do that, but give your hands forward. And really look down and back. There. You see?
Yeah.
And then you can bring him out on the circle, but now you have a really nice fluid canter. Let him stretch his neck out as you bring him out. So your right leg is back, keeping the canter. Your inside leg is at the girth, pushing him out. And your hands should feel like they can stretch and give him forward. And see how far down you can get him to go. Good. Slow the canter from your lower back. Think like you're preparing for a transition from your back, but give your hands forward. There. Give your left hand forward more. Good. This is good homework, right?
Yeah.
It's a good exercise to get him to relax.
Good. And then you should be able to just take your elbows back. You should still be sitting, and then you should be able to just halt, and he should halt square. Good. Good. You see? Yeah, and then long range. So I think that doing the pieces with him is to approach stuff. I want you to be really careful though and translate what works for you to get him listening to your seat and willing to have the rein give up without it messing up your cross country.
Yeah.
Because you can see how if you teach him, like, oh, you know, if I take my leg off or I do this with my hand, just make sure that you're maintaining because it is the canter, and so it's something you want to be careful, I think, about training.
Right. Yeah. I don't think in Ben's mind there's any connection between dressage and cross country.
Yeah, that's where I think, you know, as long as you're thinking like that, I mean, again, like, you have to sort of think what's going to make it so that the horses do well, that do the 5 stars, and I think it's, again, thinking that he has this ability to do this collection of canter and disconnect to the contact from your seat and feeling how that makes him, you know, more trained than Bronte, and how that's something that's really, like, important to be observing now.
Yeah. Yeah. Should we do the half pass a little bit and canter?
The one where you, the one where you half pass and then straight and then change.
Yeah.
Yep, so feel that. Now, I want the canter half pass to feel as slow as the counter canter half circle.
Okay. Hey, Izzy, if you want to stand down here by my mom, you can listen a little. She can stand for a little bit. She doesn't need to walk forever. Good boy. Canter.
And just walk forward and canter. Just go. So some of this stuff I want to leave for when I'm home because I'm going to help you with, like, in hand getting some clarity with that stuff.
Okay. And
Slow down.
doesn't feel like he's slowing it. Slow down.
Yeah. See how the idea is punches in feeling is to get you to slow him down and collect him. Ride it like the hunches in on the circle slows him down. Half halt him to your left rein and make him wait.
Doesn't really feel like he's bending enough. To the right.
It's not that big of a deal. It doesn't have to be, you're not going to the Olympics with the dressage team. The half pass is supposed to be a pretty shallow half pass.
Right.
And so the half pass and canter, you move sideways when you're in the air. So there's not a huge amount of crossover like you would in the trot.
Right, but I didn't even think that his, like, neck was bent enough. I don't know.
So ride them, again, like, you know, it shouldn't feel that exaggerated. But if you're not feeling like his neck is bent, ride straight ahead for a stride or two. But how does this feel to you?
It just feels really stiff. Like,
Yeah, but I think it's shining a light on his stiffness, and so it's a good set of exercises for us to be working on. But you should ride it and aim for B as in boy. And then finish riding straight ahead, and then ride this, don't change. And now counter flex to the left and circle 15 meters. Because this is where the stiffness is, right, in his shoulder. Yeah. And then short diagonal back. stride or two. Good, and then straight ahead. Down the next long side, haunches in. Good, 10-meter circle. And now half pass back towards the windows. You see how you need this shuffling?
Yeah. This is much better. Good boy.
Yeah. Then you can change. And then haunches in on the next long side. Good. And then half circle in haunches in into half pass left. Good. Feel that?
Yeah.
So when you're ready, we're going to walk.
No. I just actually doesn't. Okay. I can't hear.
So again, this is something to work on in his suppleness. I think this is something that's really important for us to be thinking about for when you're warming up at shows.
Yeah.
Because I think this is a really good way to supple him, and I think he'll be better for it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also your homework, is whether or not you can get him kind of feeling like this and have your canter be working the lateral work like this, because you're feeling that stiffness, and so we just are trying to work him through it, and that's going to be your long-term goal, right? Is to feel as though, feeling like you can get him through more than he wants to be is going to be what gives you those extra points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good boy. Good. Should we do Granchi?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I think